Garuda and the birds were all in deep reflection when Kakabhushundi arrived under the banyan tree for the evening satsang. The last few sessions of questions and answers had taken everyone into a highly contemplative state. Mentally invoking Sri Ram, Kakabhushundi opened his eyes and announced that he was ready to take Garuda's further questions. My first question, said Garuda, is, which is the most difficult body to attain? The most difficult body to attain, replied Kakabhushundi, is the human body. Anything can be achieved in the human body. The highest truth can be realized in this body. My second and third questions, said Garuda, are, what is the greatest sorrow in life? And what is the greatest joy in life? The greatest sorrow in life, said Kakabhushundi, is poverty. And the greatest joy in life is the encounter with a man of God. From the spiritual standpoint, the one who is full of desires and is steeped in delusion is considered to be impoverished, even if at the transactional level he is very wealthy. It is only when spiritual wealth comes into his life that a person becomes happy. And spiritual wealth can only be obtained from saintly people. My fourth question, said Garuda, is what are the characteristics of a man of God and those of a sinner? The man of God, replied Kakabhushundi, bears his own sorrows quietly and seeks to dispel the problems of others. He happily suffers for the welfare of others. The sinner, on the other hand, always thinks of how to create sorrow for others. My fifth question is, what according to the Vedas is the greatest meritorious act of punya? According to the Vedas, replied Kakabhushundi, ahimsa or non-violence in thought, word and deed is the highest punya, the greatest meritorious act. My sixth question, said Garuda, is, what is the greatest sin or pap? Himsa or violence, said Kakabhushundi, is the greatest sin. Himsa implies that we think of others as being different to us and therefore we have ill feelings towards them. Then the desire to hurt that person manifests. This violence can be at the level of thought, word or action. When we speak ill of someone, it implies that we have discriminated against him or her. My seventh question, said Garuda, is, what are the mental illnesses that one with bhakti is free from? The root of all sickness of the mind, said Kakabhushundi, is spiritual ignorance or wrong thinking patterns. And it is this wrong thinking that gives rise to a variety of mental disorders such as anger, jealousy, greed, desires for endless sensual pleasures. All these are diseases of the mind. To cure them, the Sadguru is required. He is the doctor for these maladies, and the medicine for these diseases is devotion to Sri Ram. It is the Guru who helps us walk the spiritual path. And so when one meets such a Guru, one must have faith in his words and in his guidance. Often people honor and respect the Guru, but not his advice and teachings. It is like appreciating a doctor, but not following his prescriptions. Now, if one follows the advice of the Guru, how can one gauge whether one is getting cured or not? It is simple. When hunger for a good disposition and noble thoughts keeps growing, and the appetite for sensual pleasure becomes weaker and weaker, it is a sign of progress. Gradually, one will find that even when objects of pleasures are before us, we will not feel tempted by them. Most important, when devotion for Sri Ram settles in the heart, then one should understand that spiritual health has been gained. The rishis, munis firmly believe that devotion to Sri Ram is the primary means to happiness. But of course, one should be constant in such devotion. In a nutshell, said Kakabhushundi, without bhakti, enduring happiness simply cannot be attained. Love is something that comes naturally to everyone. Even plants, birds, animals, babies and mentally challenged persons all understand love. We all have the capital of love, but the problem is that it is scattered in many places, in many things, in many people and experiences. We have to learn to invest our love in Bhagwan, and such love or bhakti is of the nature of peace and supreme bliss. We must cultivate a relationship with Bhagwan. Think of him as the father, brother, child, or friend, and so on. When we love someone, we do things for that person happily. We serve without complaining. Then Kakabhushundi declared that he had shared everything he knew with Garuda to the best of his ability. He expressed his gratitude to Garuda for having come to a lowly creature like himself and for having given him the opportunity for a satsang. Garuda, on his part, prostrated over and over again to Kakabhushundi for having put a permanent end to his delusion. His life, he declared, was now fulfilled. His doubts had all vanished, and he asked Kakabhushundi to look upon him as a sevak. Then, with one last prostration to Kakabhushundi, and with Sri Ram firmly ensconced in his heart, Garuda flew away. Kakabhushundi remained silent and still for long moments. The audience too mirrored his state of mind. Then, opening his eyes, Kakabhushundi got up to depart. There was deep love and gratitude in the hearts of all those who bowed down to him. Tomorrow, the story would begin all over again. As long as they lived, the birds who lived on Meru Parvat had this great joy to look forward to. We too have come to the end of the story of Sri Ram. It is a story that highlights how Dharma is our only true friend. It is a story that gives us a new vision of life, and it is our vision that determines our choices and actions. Sri Ram saw all beings, not just human beings, all beings, as a manifestation of the divine, and therefore he had no hatred for anyone, even for those who harmed him. On the contrary, he sought their welfare too. We also can transform our vision when bhakti for Bhagwan takes root in our hearts. When he becomes our ideal and when we see him in everyone and everything. Jai Shri Ram.